All right. Hello, viewers of Sodbuster Living. It is one of the favorite videos that I post on my channel, which is the Money Management Monday videos. This one's going to be a little interesting. I'm not going to lie. So let's get right into it. First of all, it is just hours before I need to go to work. And so I'm trying to at least get this video up for you all, but it is also dinner time. And so I have the microwave going in the background, and my sweet daughter is making a lemonade treat for dinner for us. So all that to say, you're going to get background noise, and we're just going to have to roll with it because first and foremost, I'm not a content maker as much as I am a homemaker, and that kind of plays into today's video. And so I thought it was even more ironic or appropriate, or maybe a little bit of both, that you get real life in the background on top of everything here. So I want to talk about that. I am first and foremost a homemaker, and that has been the kind of difficulty that I've been dealing with most this month, is that even with having to work, I still consider my first job, my most important job, to be the homemaker, the keeper of the home, the educator of my children, and all of that. And so when you have to balance more than a full-time job, because being a homemaker in and of itself is a full-time job, when you have to balance both of those, kind of trying to figure out not how to budget, that's the easy part. It's having to live by a budget that's a little bit difficult. And so this past month and a half, I haven't really been able to kind of go down to the bank, do the envelope system, which is what I have been doing for the past 18 years. And I have found that to be the best way for my brain to work. A lot of the sitting down and keeping track and keeping records and going through bank statements and constantly trying to update either a program or my paper to reflect kind of what's going on left. That's a lot of work that I just don't have in me. Whereas if I go to the bank and I say, okay, for the month of May, we have $800 for groceries, and I'm going to withdraw that $800 and put it in my envelope, and then just take out what I need every week when I go to the grocery store. That is so much more simple for me than, again, just trying to make sure that everything is tallied correctly. I'm not a computer or tech person at all, so programs honestly frustrate and give me anxiety, for lack of a better word. And a lot of it has to do with, even programs are updated all the time. I really don't like technology. Anyway, so we're trying to balance figuring out how to do life at home and how to do it in such a way that we continue to live by a good and strict budget that we have set for ourselves. So again, this past month has not been so much about making a budget as much as it has been to stick by a budget. And we are kind of playing around with that, especially with having a job. More of my time is now spent in the job or in kind of trying to catch up on sleep, let's be real, and less time with things like meal prep, more frugal meals and things like that, mainly because I just haven't been able to put that as my first and foremost priority. It's been making sure that the homeschool is getting done and making sure any of the chores that need done are either being delegated or getting done by whoever's in charge of it. And so when April was finished, we took all of April's paychecks and we applied them to all of May's bills. Now, obviously, some of May's bills or April's bills have May deadlines, so that's kind of how that works. But we did that and kept on top of the checking account, making sure that that was all taken care of. But like I mentioned earlier, the little nitty gritty stuff was just not handled, what we call sinking funds in the envelope system. And so in this month too, we're also kind of learning about how much the cost of living is here in Michigan. Some of the things that we decided was, with me having to work and not being able to get to all of the resources available to purchase things cheaply, the groceries have gone up, and we expected that. Anytime you have to put getting a job over using your job as to cut your expenses in any way possible, there is a cost involved. And so that is part of it. And so the groceries, we increased. Now, that wasn't just because of the job. It was also because even without a job, I was not able to get things as cheaply as I wanted to. We also came to the conclusion that living up here is more costly than it was in Indiana. And so because of that, the money just isn't going as far as we had hoped. And so you kind of have to tighten your belts and figure the budget out just a little bit more differently. And so all of those factoring elements brought us to the conclusion that even with the fact that we're making more money, it's evening out just with the fact that inflation is higher and we have more costs now with me working. So I'm bringing in money, and my husband and I are bringing in more money than we did in Indiana, but we have higher costs that we also have to meet. Like our gas bill has gone up like crazy. Gas bill really isn't that much more than we were having a few times in Indiana, but I have to use the car every day. And so I can't just say, okay, we're going to utilize, going out, which I already do. We're going to utilize going out, and so we can save gas. Well, I can't do that. I have to go out every night to go to work. So we're spending just on my vehicle alone, not including going to Canada and back for church, just with me working every day, us going to the YMCA. We schedule that at least 3 times a week. We'd like to get 4 in, but mainly it's been about 3 times a week. And then until my daughter can get a vehicle, I have to take her and my son to work. And once they get a paycheck, they will contribute to the gas. That's just something we require of them. And yes, I know there is conflicting things about that, but that is something we will require. But all of that to say, our gas bill has gone from about $30 a week to $50 a week, and that's $200 on my vehicle alone. My husband, because again, everything in where we live is at least a 20-minute drive, his gas bill has gone from about $30 every 2 weeks to $30 every week. And so our gas bill has increased dramatically. Our groceries have increased. The water bill has actually decreased here, which I found very interesting. But the gas and electric has been about the same. Our gas definitely increased while we were here. So anyway, like I said, we now make more, but our living expenses are a lot more. And so, we're not just learning how to budget. Like I said earlier, we're learning how to live by that budget and make adjustments and things like that, and that can take some time. So that's kind of what I have to share with you today. I have another clip here sharing some more thoughts that I wanted to bring to the table, and then I'm going to close out here because I have just a little bit of time before I have to get to work, and I would love to get this uploaded. So let me show you that clip, and I'm going to just say here, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I am jumping on here, taking a little bit of time to just share some thoughts with you. Have not done my hair. Bathroom door is right there out in the open. And we're just gonna roll with this because that's my life right now. Okay, I did do some footage of me working on the budget, and I'm gonna have a voiceover for that. So I don't know if this is gonna come before or after that, but I'm making Brussels sprouts and bacon, and just I have some thoughts and I want to share those with you. And my battery is going to die. Of course it is. Okay, let's just get to it. This first month with both my husband and I working, I have just so many thoughts on that. Again, I have never really held a job like this. I have worked, but I have not really held a 9-to-5 job thing. And I knew that it would bring its own expenses, even though it's bringing in a paycheck. And that definitely proved to be the case. Back in April, I had wanted to start the month out with a no-spend April, and just within the first week of getting the job, having to purchase things like scrubs and all of that, I already knew this was not gonna, my no spend was not gonna work. But I worked really hard at doing as minimal as possible. Now, the groceries of April was just crazy. A lot of trying to figure out how to do this, a lot of meal prep, not as much seeking out food pantries because I slept during the time when they would be open. So again, there was a lot of newness into this that needed a lot of figuring out new family dynamics. And now we have to throw in, my daughter wasn't here for a lot, like 3 weeks of April coming into May. I think we could say like the second half of April, my daughter hasn't been here, and she's been my right-hand woman. So a lot of other things was teaching my next son kind of how to do the things that I kind of relied on her to do, like to make sure that school came before the television got turned on, that the chores got done, the things that well, I'm taking my 4-hour nap before I have to do life. The kids kind of need to do their type of thing. And then you get up and we all do life together. Now, there is a different transition happening already with my work. There was, oh, they're just playing. There's a transition in schedule, and that has happened a lot. So even my work schedule is inconsistent. So all of that to say, kind of setting aside the whole no spend April, what I did realize about myself, and I have to say that I wanted to share this to kind of encourage anybody else out there. You know, most of the time most of the time I walk away from the no spend challenges having failed. But there is something that I can take away that I have not failed in, and that is I get a little bit better each time. I get a little bit more disciplined, and I get a little bit more kind of reflective on the purchasing decisions that I make. So maybe I don't do it 100%, but my overall habits begin to see the benefits of doing these things. Again, I don't walk away from them having successfully accomplished them, but I have walked away doing a little bit better. And the point of the no spend is to really think about the decisions of that you're making when you make purchases. Is it just a need? Is it a want? And is it a necessary want? I think that's the big key right there. Is it a necessary want? A toy for your child to make them happy, maybe a want, but that toy is not going to last longer than a week. So it's not really a necessary want. So you can take that time and invest that time into making cookies with your children by purchasing the ingredients to do that, because maybe you don't have that. That would be me. So there's different things like that that you think about your purchases a little bit better, and that is what makes these no spend months worthwhile, in my opinion, to pursue. If you think, well, I'm not going to accomplish it. It's not going to be successful for me. I'm not going to do it. That's not the point. The point is to teach yourself that self-discipline of making better choices for you and your family. For some of us, we don't need that. You don't need that at all. I have friends that just are disciplined, and it's admirable. I am not one of them, and that's why those kinds of things work for me. And if you're that way, maybe it'll work for you too. So the no spend April, all right. But I have just a few thoughts. That was one that I needed to get out. So